Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, I'm just setting up the recording. I'll be right with you.
Hi, Beverly.
I just unmuted myself because I realized that I was saying hello to you and you didn't hear me. How are you, Joan?
Good.
Hello.
How you
Hi, all.
All right.
Hi, Cynthia.
Hi.
doing? Hi, Cynthia.
Hey, Joan. Hey, Beverly.
Hey, how you doing? Just I want somebody to be in charge of this weather.
I know. Well, we're excited. We're going to have a block
Awesome.
party on Saturday.
And I think the weather's going to be good on Saturday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a nice day.
That's really nice. That's really nice. I'm glad to hear that things are really getting back to normal.
Yeah, we have a lot of children on the block, so they're very excited about it.
Oh,
Oh.
sure. That's nice. Did you get
How's-
rides and face painting and stuff like that?
Yeah, we got a couple of little things for them.
Good.
And everybody will come out and barbecue and have a
Oh,
good
that'll
time.
be fun.
Yep.
That's eat something good for me.
Mm-hmm.
How the kids, Jeremy?
Everybody's doing well. They had their little adventure this weekend because I went away overnight and my niece watched them. So they got a vacation from me at home.
They missed you, I'm sure.
Oh, they certainly did, but they loved my niece, so they got a little break from me, and I got a little break from them.
Hmm.
So I am
Oh.
going to start the webinar because it's 6:30.
Okay.
And you can now hear that the meeting is being recorded, and hopefully we have some attendees joining us as well.
Okay.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Hello?
Hello,
Hi,
David.
David.
It's nice to meet you all.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for
Same
coming.
here.
My pleasure.
Our chairperson, committee chairperson is joining us now.
Hi, Julio.
We have some attendees. I don't think he's completed the sign in. Oh, now he has. Okay. So now I think he can hear you.
I can
I
hear
see
you. Give me
he's-
1 second.
You got new background picture there.
I
I've got
didn't see it.
backgrounds galore.
Ah,
Oh, there
there's
you
the
go.
old one.
Let me just get my headphones.
I used my community Wood 7 bag today when I was out shopping.
I use them all the time.
Yep.
Give yours away. We have plenty more to give you.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Oh, hello, Puss.
Now we're joined.
Oh, look who's here.
Julio, when you're ready to start, I could call roll.
I get such a kick out of them.
They all think they're stars.
They are. Yesterday, I got off the bus on Prospect Park West and right on the circle on the park side. I'm walking and there's a man behind me making a lot of noise. I turned around and he has a dog. The other fella has a dog, the same breed. Well, so how many those dogs were married? They couldn't leave each other alone. I got such a kick out of those two dogs. I asked the fellow, I said, are those two married? He said, absolutely.
Yeah, they have their friends. They certainly do. And their enemies.
Oh, and no, one was a male and one was a female.
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay.
The life of a happy animal.
Yep.
There's one
Jeremy,
right, there's one
let's-
right there sitting on top
I'm
of the
sorry,
building.
Julio?
Sorry, I was gonna say, let's go ahead and call the roll.
Okay,
Okay.
get quiet now.
Good evening, everybody. I am going to mute everybody but myself. And I am going to call roll for the committee members for the Education Committee. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and acknowledge it and then mute yourself again. And I am only going to call committee members. If you are a board member, I'm going to write your name down and we will announce you later on in the meeting. So Julio Pena,
Here, sorry.
thank you. Alexa Aviles. Nicholas Azadian,
Present.
thank you. Joan Body,
Here,
thank you. Stacy Boyd. Cynthia Felix,
Here. Hello, everyone.
thank you. Anthony Gilio. Damaris Gonzalez. Damaris,
Here.
thank you.
I'm here.
Thank you. Kenny Guan. John Johnston. Beverly Kleinman.
I'm here.
Here,
Thank you. Thank you, John. Beverly,
yes, here.
thank you. Arelis Martinez. Marilyn Melman. Rovika Rajkishan. And I see another committee member joined us, so I will call her name, Alexa Aviles.
Yes, present.
Thank you. And I'll just quickly go through who else is here. Pat Ruiz, Cynthia Gonzalez. Pat, you're here twice, actually. Hector Gonzalez and Cindy Vandenbosch. All yours, Julio.
Pat, you don't get extra credit for being here twice. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jeremy, for calling the roll. Officially calling the Education and Youth Committee to order. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope your summer is off to a good start and enjoying the interesting weather we've been having lately. The meeting tonight is, we just have one item on the agenda, an exciting item, something we've been talking about for quite a while. This committee and the board has been talking about for a while, is the renaming of a school in our community to the Dr. Antonia Pantoja School. It's something that was brought to our attention, I think almost 3 years ago now. Pat, correct me if I'm wrong. It is the board and the committee voted on it some time ago, and we've been working kind of behind the scenes to kind of get this in motion. And we're very excited to be joined this evening by Superintendent Prado and some other folks, and just excited to have a conversation and talk about how we can get this in motion and how we can best support this renaming, something that this community is very interested in, very excited about, something I'm personally very excited about, as are some other board members, and just to have a conversation and see how we can move forward. So I just wanted to introduce the superintendent, if you wanted to say a few words and just have a conversation.
Sure. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's nice to meet you all. I'm new to the district, as I'm sure you're all familiar, and I'm looking forward to partnering with the community around, education-related projects, obviously. And this one was brought to my attention, soon after I came in, and I'm familiar with Dr. Pantoja's legacy as a, in the community, in the broader New York City community. when I worked in the Bronx, there was a school that was named after Dr. Pantoja. And so when this proposal came to my attention, I was definitely in support of it. So I'm kind of an easy yes if this is something that the community is looking for support from in terms of my office and what we can do to help make this happen.
Thank you. And I do know, we have some board members who are familiar and work with the Department of Ed. And I do know that the school renaming process is not a simple one. So I guess we just kind of wanted to know how we can to best like move the process forward, how we can, is there a school identified, is I guess just what are some next steps for us to kind of support that?
Sure. So, we have been working closely with one of our schools that's located in the Sunset Park area. That is a new school. It actually just came online this year. And when the proposal was brought to the attention of the principal looked at the kind of the mission of the school, the community that the school is located in, and found a lot of alignment between the school and the vision and the potential renaming of the school to the Dr. Antonio Pantoja School of Cultural Learning, I think is the complete name. What the process is it is a multi-step process. It does start at the school level with the school leadership team, where the principal or the school leadership team will propose the potential renaming of the school, and then it moves up through the different community and DOE entities, including the Community Education Council and myself, before it goes to ultimately the attention of the chancellor, who would do the final signing off. It is a multi-step process, but it can be done for sure. And again, it's something that with this, obviously with the interest and the support of the community, is something that we can definitely are willing and able to support in helping that process go along. So my understanding is the first step is going to happen in September, where the principal and the school leadership team at the proposed site would begin the conversation of engaging in the steps at the school level that it would take in order for this to proceed to the next step.
That's great to hear. And I guess also is like there any way for us as a community to either be a part of that or to be supportive of that if there's a need for it?
What I can definitely do is if the board is interested, if the committee is interested in either speaking with the principal or with the school leadership team as a part of that process, I'll definitely make that connection and put you in contact with each other, so the board, whoever is interested in communicating the kind of the stance of the community, which I know that the principal is aware of the stance of the community, but I'm happy to make the connection so that you can have that conversation with the principal and with the school leadership team at the school at that step of the process, and which is the first step. And I'm sure as the process goes along, there will be more opportunities to continue communicating that desire of the board. For example, as it goes through the Community Education Council, to my understanding, that's also it's an elected body of parents representing schools in the district. So there's always the opportunity to communicate that that desire and the will of the board.
Great. Pat, go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Prado. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am not only the second vice chair of the community board, I am also the president and co-founder of the Boricua Festival Committee. And we have been around for close to 25 years now. And about 10 years ago, I believe it is, we started the Dr. Antonia Pantoja Youth Leadership Award. And we, as a committee, we are about 7 to 8 of us unpaid volunteer committee members who love doing what we do. And we are very strongly in agreement with naming a school. We actually approached the community board to support us in this aspect. And whatever it is that you would need from us to, and I mean Boricua Festival right now, I'm not speaking as second vice chair of Community Board 7. Please count us in. This is something we've been wanting to see. Sunset Park deserves to have a school named in honor of Dr. Pantoja. We used to have, and forgive me if I'm wrong, PS 314 used to be called the Luis Munoz Marin School. And I believe when they split it into 2 schools or 3 schools, whatever they are now, that name is gone. And it is very, very important that 1 school, 2 schools, as many schools as we can possibly get in the district be named after Dr. Pantoja and any other Hispanic Latino leaders. And thank you again for your time.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me. And again, when we received outreach, just so we did receive outreach from the city regarding the board's, desire to have this happen. This was definitely something. I mean, I was familiar with Dr. Pantoja's legacy prior to coming into the district, so it didn't take long for me to say that this is definitely something that we should do. I'm totally in agreement. So when I say that I'm happy to assist this process proceeding, I mean it. So definitely of the multi-step process. There's a chancellor's regulation, which is as a public document. I can direct the board to it, which actually lines up the steps that are required of the school to go about the renaming process. So like Mr. Pena said, it's not like something that happens in a day, but it definitely, there is a process that happens that can result in the renaming. So I'm definitely in support of it. And when presented to the principal was in support as well.
When you have an opportunity, could you go through the timeline? And it doesn't have to be now. I know other people have questions, but I'd be interested in hearing what that timeline is.
Sure. While you talk, I'll pull it up.
Sorry, finding my mute button. And we have another question from Cynthia Felix.
Hi, not a question, but thank you, Superintendent, for being with us here today. I'm also a board member, but I'm also a member of the Alliance for Puerto Rican Education and Empowerment, APRI. We have some attendees that are members, including our president and one of our education advocacy committee members as well. So we just want to voice our support for naming a school and also providing any resources that may be needed in support of that and educating the community, the school community about Dr. Pantoja's work, etc. We would be happy to provide that. So we just want to voice our support of it and extend any resources that we may be able to provide.
Thank you so much, and nice to meet you virtually at least. I feel like I've been saying this now for a year and a half, but yeah, and hopefully one day we get to meet in person. But it's really nice to meet you, and again, it's my pleasure to be here.
Welcome to District 20. My nephew just graduated from Pershing.
Oh, congratulations!
My alma mater. Yes.
Oh, congratulations!
Yes. So welcome to District 20.
Thanks so much.
Were there any other questions from board members? Go ahead, Alexa.
Hi, everyone. So sorry, I'm not on video. I'm actually on my phone. Thank you so much, Julio. Thank you, Pat, also for bringing this to the board and being a consistent supporter and leader to make sure this happens. And I'm just delighted. I wanted to express my full support and just want to see if we can get a little more clarity on what you mentioned a couple of times, getting community support looks like. obviously you mentioned the different bodies, the organized bodies that, you know, this process needs to touch on, but I wondered if there are other things that you think might be helpful in stewarding this process, in addition to obviously individual testimonies, but if there are other things that we could do to make sure this process moves forward as expeditiously as possible. Obviously, we are all here to make sure that happens.
I'm going to pull up I'm pulling up the regulation. I'm scrolling through it right now just to kind of pull it up, and I apologize for not having it ready to go when I got here. But essentially, one of the things I can definitely say can be done to support it, and I would say that this would be in cases where it was something that where everybody wasn't on board, and so far my understanding is that everybody is kind of on board with this happening. So here we go. So here's the transfers reg. I think the most important thing is being able to, you know, get the connection to the different bodies that are engaging in the process, and, you know, communicating concern. And as an elected body of community representatives, I think that your voice and your, you know, the things that you would like to see happen carry a lot of weight. So I would say that by itself is one tremendous thing. But I will, here I found the regulation, which is called Chancellor's Regulation A-860. I can even link it in the chat for everybody, if that's helpful. And I can send it to, I can email it to, I'm not sure who set up this meeting, but I can email it to the person who set up the meeting.
Yeah, you can email it to the board office to bk07@cb.nyc.gov.
Done. And I'll, if there's a chat here, I will put it in the chat.
And Superintendent Prado, I just wanted to say welcome and thank you, and we look forward to working with you.
Likewise, again, thank you for having me, and nice to meet you, and hopefully we get to meet in person one day soon, and definitely partner together on projects that are of interest to the community. Would
you be able to let us know what school you have identified?
Yes, so we're exploring 20K 939, the School for Cultural Learning, which is a new elementary school that opened this year, right off of 3rd Avenue and 59th Street. And so we have engaged in a conversation with the principal, and so far we know that this is going to be something that will be, you know, the Chancellor's Regulation will be engaged in as part of the process for renaming. Let's see here. There isn't a chat, so I'll definitely send the email to the BK7, the Community Board 7 email when we're done here today.
So Julio, there are a couple of questions in the Q&A as well. I would be happy to read them if you wish.
Sure. And I'm just seeing one of them is from my former professor from Brooklyn College.
I think Cynthia's answering that one, but perhaps you'd like to give her a chance to speak for herself, or I could read what she wrote as well.
Sure. Let's go ahead. To speak, so I don't have that function.
So I don't know if she wishes to speak because her hand isn't up, but I will give her the opportunity. So hang on, I'm on the wrong screen. So Maria Perez y Gonzalez, if you wish to speak, you can unmute yourself now.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Dr. Maria Perez y Gonzalez. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's good to see you all and to hear some of you. I didn't see all of you. Hi, Julio. I'm really glad to see that you're here and part of this, of course. So I just wanted to express, you know, my support. I heard one of my colleagues from APRE who just spoke. APRE is basically an organization that is made up of Brooklyn College alumni. So I was glad to hear her speak. And I just want to, let you know that I'm a lifelong resident of Sunset Park. I was sad to see the Luis Muñoz Marin School, close down and lose its name. I looked it up just to see when that was exactly. That happened 2007. That was a long time ago. And so there's no other school, right, named for a Puerto Rican or a Latina or Latino that I know of in Sunset Park. So it's long overdue. I'm also a proponent of renaming some streets to honor some Puerto Ricans. So I'd love to see Boricua Boulevard, for example. But that's another, another initiative that we should undertake. But I thank you for your support, Mr. Preto, Superintendent Preto, and I thank you, community board members. I think 3 years is already enough time, so we should move on this quickly. I mentioned in the Q&A that there's a documentary on Antonia Pantoja Presente about her life and her work. She did, head up Aspira, a great organization, but she did many more things as well. And so I would love to see a school named in her honor. So anything that I can possibly do to help that cause, or us at Brooklyn College, I'm in the Department of Puerto Rican and Latino Studies there. So we are definitely a resource for you. Please feel free to contact us. And I put my email in the chat. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak and to support this initiative. Palante, that's what I want to see it move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Julio, should I give the other person? Well, we have an attendee raise their hand now, so
Sure.
I will allow them to talk. Cesar Cardona, you can unmute yourself if you wish.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. I am president of the Alliance for Puerto Rican Education and Empowerment. We participate greatly in it and try to influence favorable educational outcomes for Latino youth. We wholeheartedly endorse school being named in the name of a person who is venerated in so much of the Puerto Rican and Latino community. Antonia Pantoja, as was noted, was the head of Aspira, which is one of the foremost educational institutions attempting to maintain students in school and to produce favorable outcomes for them. Our organization is composed primarily of educators, people who achieved high positions in administrations and people who are still teaching. I'm confident that I can tell you that we endorse this this idea of naming a school after a prominent individual such as Dr. Pantoja. And Dr. Pantoja represents a favorable role model for so much of our youth. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity.
You're muted, Jeremy.
Thank you. So, and thank you for speaking. We have one other question in the Q&A from Vanessa Cordero. I'm going to give her the opportunity to talk if she wishes. Vanessa, you could unmute yourself if you wish.
Hi, I also am a resident of Sunset Park, and I'm so glad to see Puerto Ricans being represented in our schools, because like Ms. Ruiz said, I went to PS 314, which was Luis Muñoz Marin, and I haven't seen Puerto Ricans being represented in Sunset Park. And I grew up in this neighborhood, and it's become diverse, but let's not forget that Puerto Ricans did have a big impact in this neighborhood. I feel like that has been taken for granted. And I'm glad to see somebody like Dr. Pantoja being represented in one of our schools. And I hope that the children will be taught of her accomplishments and what she has done, not only for the Puerto Rican community, but everyone that she represented. Because I didn't learn about my heritage and about Dr. Pantoja until I went to college. And I hope that that can change. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. I want to acknowledge we're joined by board members Sandra Alfonso and Stacy Boyd. Stacy is a committee member. Julio, there are two other board members with hands up.
Sure. Pat?
Hi, I just wanted to also, and I failed to mention this, and I do apologize. I believe we're also joined by 3 other committee members of the Boricua Festival Committee: Willie Villegas, Crescencio Morales, who's also with APRE, and I believe Melissa del Valle. She may be on this call herself. And I don't know if they want to say anything in support of or just their thoughts, but I just wanted to mention that they are here, and we are here 100% to get this going. Thank you.
So a couple of hands just went up for attendees. I assume those are the folks that Pat just mentioned. Pat, I didn't get your audio completely, but I certainly got the gist of it. And Julio, we still have one panelist with a hand up.
Sure. Let's go to Cynthia and then the 3 attendees.
Ms. Cordero, I just want you to know I answered your question. Also, you had asked for more information on the organization that Ms. Ruiz and myself spoke about. So I put the website link for Boricua Festival and for APRI in the Q&A. So anyone's welcome to look at both organizations. The Boricua Festival is not happening this year, but she's going to be back better than ever next year. And APRI is there as well. We have a contact page that we'll be happy to send you information. Thank you for your interest.
Julio, if you wish, I'm happy to call folks.
Sure.
So I have Melissa del Valle next. Melissa, you can unmute yourself.
Y'all hear me? Excuse me. So I just wanted to, on so many different levels, really lend support and ask, and I apologize for being late, but ask that the committee really get behind this. There's such a need for women of color to be our community heroes, to leave a lasting legacy in Sunset Park and at large. I think very much that for as much as any Norwegian has established, relevancy in Sunset Park, as has Puerto Ricans, as has the Asian community. And we need to start lifting those opportunities up for our community to be well represented on every level. Dr. Pantoja left an immaculate legacy as in her sexuality, in her education, as a woman of color, as a Puerto Rican, as a woman, and as an educator. There's just no reason why this should have ever taken so long from the day that Pat and I put it on the table at the community board. I don't understand why we're here, 5 years later, when so many schools have been built, named, etc. No other board, no other community organization has asked for a school to be named. This should have been something that we put out. This should have been something that the community board got behind way back when. I don't know what the flag was. I'm not putting it on anybody, but now that it's here, now that it's at the forefront, and in a community, P.S. and by the way, where the first Puerto Rican woman became a member of Congress, we need to really hold on and promote our history and our culture here. Boricua Festival has done that for Sunset Park. Boricua Festival has done that for Brooklyn, for the 5 boroughs, and Antonia Pantoja is well deserving of this. And there should just be no question. There should have never been a committee meeting. We should have never had to get to here. So as a Boricua Festival board member, as the co-chair to the Antonia Pantoja Scholarship Fund, as a resident, as a Puerto Rican, as a woman of color here in Sunset Park, I 10,000% support this, implore that our community get behind this and recognize the legacy that this woman has paid for the United States in bilingual education. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Melissa.
I have Crescencio Morales next. Crescencio, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm a member of APREM and a member of the Boricua Festival, and I'm also a 35-year resident in Sunset Park, and I've been active in activities that are involved with the history and the culture of Puerto Rican people, but also of New York City and the impact of Dr. Doña Pantoja on the youth throughout the city and even throughout the nation is immeasurable. She has influenced education from the development of bilingual education and the development of bilingual education for teachers, the development of teachers in bilingual education. And across the board, she has influenced the development and leadership and the development of leadership within the Puerto Rican community and by extension, the Latinos and other youth from different backgrounds that she had never, ever expressed anything other than a full support of the development of the youth of our city. And therefore, I wholeheartedly support the naming of the school for Dr. Doña Pantoja. She has a legacy that is immense and has impacted throughout the United States. I thank you for the opportunity for speaking on behalf of that.
Thank you. Julio, I have another board member's hand up.
Cynthia Gonzalez.
Good evening, everyone. And I want to thank Superintendent Prado for coming out and also everyone that spoke in support of this renaming. I have two questions for Superintendent Prado. The first one being that are there any barriers that you would know of to having Community Board 7's education, Youth and Education Committee from participating with the school leadership in the plans for renaming? That's question number one. And then the second one, are there any other persons, organizations competing for renaming the school?
Those are good questions. So to the first one, I'm not aware, excuse me, I'm not aware of any barriers to the community board being able to, communicate with the school and letting know the interest. And just so you know, like the school is already aware. So, but I'm happy to make I'm happy to make the connection nonetheless. And I understood this was an important this is an important thing for the board prior to coming, and I really I appreciate all the reinforcement and knowing about it. It's helpful for me. As far as the second question, I'm not aware that there is any other competition for naming the school anything other than the topic that we're talking about today.
Because earlier when you spoke, you made it sound so cumbersome. Like, I mean, how hard really are these hurdles?
It's a process. So I think that, and I was just reviewing the regulation. It involves the principal proposing it to the school leadership team, and the school leadership team essentially, proposing it to the community superintendent, who's me, and then I would present it to the Community Education Council at a public meeting. And then and the Community Education Council would vote, I guess, on it. And then after that, it goes to the to FACE, which is the Family and Community Empowerment Division of the Department of Education, and the Chancellor for final review and approval. Those are the steps. So it's not that it's difficult or not able to be done. It just takes a little bit of time. And again, with the approval and the support of the community, it makes it a lot easier.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sometimes I can talk about these processes and make them feel like they can't be done, and so that's not my intention at all. So I apologize for that.
Julio, I have another attendee with a hand up. I'm a board member as well.
Mm-hmm. Alexa, go ahead.
Superintendent, what's the optimistic time frame, if it's different from a realistic time frame, that we could expect this process to kind of play out?
Great question. The regulation states March 1st of the year prior to the renaming to take place is the deadline for the school and the superintendent and community education council's involvement and proposal to FACE and the chancellor. So if the regulation says if you get all of it into FACE and the chancellor's office by March 1st of the year prior, then the process can proceed and the school can be renamed the following year.
Okay, thank you for the clarity.
Melissa Del Valle Ortiz, did you have your hand up again?
I did. Just really quickly, I'd also like to ask to the superintendent to note also and two things. One is that Antonia Pantoja, for those that don't have the history, is also a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom. So, I mean, like, shining stars, she's it, right? Like, there's no grading here. Worthiness, she's it. I can't think of another person in the aspect of education. She founded a college, for crying out loud. The other thing I want to add on is that, and to the community board as well as the superintendent's office, for consideration of an amendment to the public schools requirement for naming a school. Because when you hire a principal, a lot of times that principal may not be familiar with the community for naming that school. It is an unfortunate oversight that our community, so rich in this history, has to advocate for the naming of a school when we know our own community. There should be some kind of amendment there or addition that requires the principal to involve the community board and to not be the final decision maker, but that the parents in the community be the outweighing factor. In addition, and that's not, with any disrespect to any principal who has a vision for their school. In addition, I would also like to ask that the Board of Education consider incorporating, because of her level of notoriety and lack thereof, consider establishing a committee under the school to recognize her citywide in that capacity. There should be some kind of curriculum incorporated into the school that teaches the children who she is. I'm sorry to say I don't know who John Longfellow is, the school name for PS 94. I don't know. But if we're going to be naming these schools,
then there should be some kind of integration and requirement for the school to also teach that to the children so that they understand whose shoulders they're standing on. I went to Norman Thomas High School. I'm very well versed in who he is, mostly because of my own personal research later in life. But I would have been, you know, I would have been, it would have been nice to know who he was at that time. So I'm not putting it on the individual principal, but I'm putting it on the Board of Education to require that students know who their school is named for. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
No, thank you for that. I definitely noted that down, especially around the process for community involvement in the naming of new schools. I do know that there is community involvement through the Community Education Council when new schools are proposed, as well as the Panel for Educational Policy. Those are the two policy-driven arms of the Department of Education. So what I can do is, you know, go back and find whatever information there is around the specifics around what you're referring to, and provide them to the community board so that it's out there if it's public.
Go ahead, Pat.
It's just clarity for me. You're saying we would submit our application March of 2022, and it would be renamed in September of 2022?
That's right.
Alexa?
Sorry, thank you.
No.
This.
So
Oops.
the example that I'm sorry to cut you off, just to clarify.
That's okay.
To Ms. Ruiz. So the example that they give in the regulation is a name change that would be put in for September 2021 needed to have been put in by March 1st, 2020.
No exceptions because of COVID?
Sorry, that again?
Are there any exceptions because of COVID?
Great question. I don't know.
Yes, you need to do some research and get back to us.
I mean, I'm looking at the regulation. I'm just reading the regulations. So that's what the process. Hey, listen, you got to ask, right? I hear you.
So Superintendent, thank you so much. I definitely would like to underscore Pat's question, or I'm not sure if it was another board member, around seeking a potential waiver or accommodation given the particular school year and how long it has taken even to get to this particular point. Community's been waiting for so long, so we could expedite any piece of this. We would be all for that. But I also wanted to ask you, Superintendent Prado, around your specific commitment to moving this project forward, given you know, all the possible changes that will be happening, either, you know, in the leadership with Chancellor and possibly in the administration and DOE. Can we have your commitment that you will see this through?
Yeah, I'm in full support of this renaming of the school to Dr. Antonio Pantoja and putting Dr. Pantoja's name on the school. I'm in full support of it. So as soon as the school proceeds with their piece, I will take it up and present it to the Community Education Council, at which time, public comment can also be made in regard to support of or not support of the proposals. So that's one place where community input can be given and put on the record for in regard to support for this this renaming.
Great. And if there's any way that we can seek, again, a waiver or get clarity given the particular year we had around the time frame that's in the Chancellor's regulations, we would definitely like to pursue that.
What I will definitely do, I can't guarantee any waivers. I can definitely communicate the board's desire for a waiver and definitely the expediency. I commit to implementing the regulation as quickly and efficiently as I possibly can. And and definitely communicating to face and the chancellor's office the community's desire for this to happen as quickly as possible.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'm going to go to Cynthia Felix.
Yeah, I just want to clarify 860.
Mhm.
So the process is the proposal will be given to the principal, and then the principal forwards that and speaks about it at a PTA meeting, correct? And then the PTA has to vote on it.
An SLT meeting, a school leadership team.
Okay. Okay, because I'm reading it, it said PA, Parents Association meeting. And then it goes to you, and then it goes to the CEC.
That's correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to be sure that the part of our board would be to give the proposal to the principal. Or will the principal have a proposal ready? Or do you want us to submit a proposal to the principal?
It's not necessary. I'm going to connect the board with the principal. The principal is already aware of the
Okay.
The principal is already aware, but I'm going to connect the board and the principal prior to. So, you know,
I wasn't sure if you would require a written proposal.
So I think there's some confusion. The community board did write a letter several years ago stating our desire for a school to be renamed for Dr. Pantoja. So the community board is on record having requested this.
Got it.
But will we give that proposal to this particular school now that we identified a school?
I guess you can vote on it, but we have not voted on a particular school. We voted on naming a school.
Okay, so that was what I wanted to clarify, like what was our role in order to move this forward and not go in circles, so that when it is ready to go, we have it ready to go. So I guess I would either go to Julio or Pat to let us know, do we vote on a particular school or?
Well, I mean, we have identified a school that's in Sunset Park that is willing to go through the process to rename the school. So I don't know if there's a strong desire for a different school, but this school is definitely is willing and is prepared to begin the process in September when these bodies like first convene. They don't convene over the summer, or they maybe be able to start it sooner, but they don't start until September when the regular school year starts.
That's helpful. Thank you. Pat?
Community Board 7 is District 15 or District 20?
Both.
Both.
Okay, it is both. My question, number one, I want to also, in agreement with Melissa about the importance of teaching about Dr. Antonia Pantoja. I understand that in 2022, it will be the 30th anniversary of her death. And to have her background, her biography, everything about her taught during Puerto Rican Heritage Month in November should be a requirement. And I agree with that, and I hope that you guys will consider that. My other question, and I completely forgot about this. You said the school is the School of Cultural Learning. What programs are there? Is there a music program there? Is it bilingual, trilingual? Can you tell me a little bit more about that school?
The school it's in its first year, so it was just opened. It actually opened this year with one grade of kindergarten students. So it's a brand new school located in Sunset Park in a new building, which is a campus building that includes a middle school and the elementary school.
Are there any final questions? I think we have some next steps and how we're proceeding. Cynthia Gonzalez, final word.
No, because I don't believe that Pat's question was fully answered. The question also related to asking about what cultural programs actually exist in that school now, if any. Because I know it's the first year, but I mean, I'm sure they have the curriculum. I'm sure that, you know, these first graders, I believe it is, you know, like what's being offered to them now. Did everybody hear me?
Yeah, I did. I'm actually.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought I might have been on mute the whole time.
It's okay. So the school has a focus on the arts, with a heavy focus on theater, as well as a heavy involvement in the development of a culture responsive and sustaining education curriculum, which is also a Department of Education focus. You'll hear a lot about that as definitely in this past year, and definitely as we get towards the reopening of school fully in the fall. But the school does really have a strong focus on the arts, particularly in theater and social emotional learning, along with its core program. And that they have been working with the Civics for All initiative, and using the Civics for All initiative from the Department of Education to support the development of early literacy as well as the arts in the young people at the Sunset School for Cultural Learning.
Thank you so much.
Julio, we have, well, I'll just call Pat again.
Sorry, this will be my last comment. I would hope that a program on Bomba and Plena would be considered a dance program would be great for the kids. And you know, if there's anybody else that wants to chime in on that and agree and push for that, please support us, because I think it's important to keep our culture, our music alive, and for the children to know, you know, from other ethnicities, who we are and where we come from, and how the musical instruments are a wonderful way to communicate and entertain. That's it. Thank you again.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you again, Superintendent Prado, for joining us this evening. I'm excited for when September, when we're back in school, and you know, the SLT, well, this proposal comes before the SLT, and we can support any way possible, and we're happy to speak to anyone. As you heard this evening, like, there's a lot of energy behind this, a lot of enthusiasm, and we're really excited to move this forward, and we really appreciate you joining us this evening. And I just want to acknowledge Edward Cerna, who has been a huge help in really getting us to this point, and I really want to thank him personally for his assistance here. So thank you, Ed.
Again, it's my pleasure to be here, and I'm happy to support this this happening. So, you know, whenever I can do to support, I know that I'm definitely a part of it, so I'm aware of that. But you know, whatever I can do to support this happening, and definitely happening efficiently, I will do that.
Thank you. So with that said, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Fanoti, enjoy the rest of your summer. Alexa, is something else?
Nope, sorry about that. If the superintendent could put his contact information in the chat, that would be fantastic.
We don't have a chat, but we could send, we could.
Oh,
email
in
it
the
to you.
Q&A. Great.
I don't believe he has access to the Q&A.
Got it. Thank you.
So if you can read off your contact information, we could actually see it on the bottom of the screen for the live transcript.
Sure. My email address is, my first name is David, so it's dpretto@schools.nyc.gov.
And Alexa, I will send that to you and all the board members tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you again. Enjoy your evening.
I'm sorry I missed that.
I said thank you and have a good evening and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Likewise.
Take care.
Take care.